Time to pull up a chair. We've got another great story for you today in the rLounge. Who can resist a good poaching session when the meat is practically begging to be served on your plate? Today in the rLounge, survival of the fittest, right? Golden Child brother stole my inherited business, so I started another one and stole his client. I'm in a very low phase of my life, maybe the lowest. I have not stepped out of my room for the last 40 hours. Writing here because I saw a lot of people confessing that it's sort of therapy. The actual one is scheduled for next week. So I, 31 male, have been milked by my elder brother, Mike, 36 male, for almost a decade. We have an agency business running in our family for 3 generations. It's a medium-sized agency started by our grandfather. My dad joined it when he was still a teenager. My brother joined it after his master's. 3 years later, after completing college, I followed the legacy. When my brother joined, my family threw a huge welcome bash for him. A grand party was organized with all the employees and clients. My brother was formally introduced to everyone. It was such a proud moment to our family. I was in college then. I was awestruck by all the love and respect he was showered with. I envisioned the same for myself. However, when I joined, nothing of that sort happened. No formal introductions, no welcome party. I had to introduce myself to the clients and office employees. When I complained to Dad about this, he said Grandpa is retiring and next month we are organizing his farewell party. We do not have the budget for 2 back-to-back parties, so it would be a combined event. Welcome bash for me and retirement for Grandpa. Fair enough. Dad said he would introduce me to the client on that day. However, Grandpa stole the show that evening. After his farewell speech, everyone got so emotional, raising a toast to him and reminiscing about his struggle days. No one cared about me. It was hurtful. However, one good thing happened that night. Grandpa announced that the business would be jointly owned by my brother and me. Yes, Dad had the power of attorney, and after him, it would be equal between us. Growing up, I was fascinated by the idea of working with my brother. We were very tight in our teenage years, and I thought it would be this way all life. Boy, was I wrong. While I always looked upon him as the source of inspiration, I respected him. Sadly, he looked down upon me as an accounts graduate. My brother had a master's degree in business from a fancy university, and he used that to leverage his position in the family business. Despite all my efforts, I could never get the same respect as him in the family. It was not about merit or skills, but a degree. Mike began working at the firm while I was still in college. He was ahead of me in experience. When I first started, I was eager and willing to learn. I took on any task, no matter how menial, because I wanted to prove myself and gain experience. But from day one, Mike treated me more like an employee than a partner. At first, I brushed it off, thinking he just wanted to make sure I learned the ropes. However, after working for 10 years, it became clear that Mike never respected me. It got worse. Mike would often take credit for my hard work and ideas. I developed several key strategies that significantly increased our client base and revenue, but Mike always presented them as his own. It was infuriating. However, Mike would rub business lessons on me, saying it didn't matter whose idea it was the company that needed to thrive. His famous lines are, "Does Steve Jobs go to the store and sell iPhones, or does he sit and manufacture it? Or does he solve for the employee's dispute happening in the company? No, right? He has people for those menial works. Still, he is the face of Apple because he is the brain behind it. That's how companies are run. But you won't get these nuances. Had you been to business school, it would have been a lot easier for me to work with you. Gosh, I have to break down every concept for you. It's so tiring. Why don't you take some courses online to gain business acumen?" It was humiliating when he lectured me on the business lessons and then dumped all his work on me. I felt I was running the business solely and he was just taking away the cream because he was the face of the company. I brought this up to my dad and he gaslighted me that I don't have a business degree and he cannot make a simple graduate to be the face of the company. I said I didn't want Mike to be removed, but wanted an equivalent status for myself. Mike left no opportunity to belittle me, saying I don't know these business soft skills because I'd never been to business school. In most of the client meetings, he would go alone, and only when it would involve giving me some complex update or taking long briefs would he loop me in. I was still taking his BS as a learning opportunity to compensate for my lack of degree. However, I never thought business school could teach you something that a practical experience can't. You can contest me on this. Would be fun to know the different perspectives. The final straw came last year. We landed a massive project with a new client. I wouldn't be exaggerating if I said it was because of my effort. It was a massive deal. That project could elevate our business to new heights. Mike, predictably, took all the credit. But what made it unbearable was when he decided to hire his best friend, Tom, to manage the project. Someone with zero experience in our industry, but a fancy business degree. Mike convinced Dad that we needed someone qualified to manage this project. I curled up my hands completely from that project and left it to Tom to handle. It may sound evil, but I knew the project would crash badly because a newbie cannot handle such intricacies. Several other experienced employees also complained that Tom didn't have the required skills to manage this project. However, Mike didn't listen to either of us. Instead, he blamed me for harvesting office politics and ganging up against Tom. So I stopped meddling in his business and saw him getting doomed. Tom's incompetence caused delays and mistakes, and ultimately, we lost the client. The blame, of course, was placed squarely on my shoulders. I was livid. I confronted Mike, but he dismissed me, saying I should have overseen the project better. I went to Dad to voice out my concern, but surprisingly, he had other plans for me. He downgraded my position in the company. Mike had manipulated everyone into thinking I was incompetent and didn't deserve to run the company. I protested, and Dad dropped the bombshell that he has used the power of attorney to make Mike the sole owner of the company while I'm being reduced to an executive. He said I would continue to draw the same salary as earlier, but I would no longer be the co-owner. I was distraught. How could they do this to me? I walked out of the company. Mike emailed me that I cannot abscond like this and I should officially resign and hand over my tasks to Tom. Resignation my butt. This is what I replied to in that email. Later, I realized that Dad and other senior officials were copied on the mail, but by then, I stopped giving a crap about it. Mom called me asking me to come home and sort this out. I asked what options do I have. She tried to convince me to work as an executive as per Mike's decision, and then later, if I prove myself, they'll think about promoting me to a senior position. Really? I inherited this business in the same as Mike did, but he got to own it fully while I had to prove myself. Wow. And what did Mike do to prove himself worthy? I said I was not interested in being a slave to their golden child, and I'm cutting them off. I've been curled up inside my bed since then. My mind is fogged with the betrayal my family has done to me. I really don't know what to do next. I certainly don't want to go back, but I don't know anything else. I have no passion, no skill. Family business was what I always aspired to do. I feel directionless. Sorry for the rant. Hope you'll get me. Oh man, OP. You've been marinated, sautéed, and served up on a silver platter by your own family. Mike's speech about Steve Jobs? Priceless. Newsflash, Mike. Steve Jobs actually did know how to sell, innovate, and lead, not just parrot motivational drivel while letting everyone else do the heavy lifting. How many hoops do they expect you to jump through while Mike sits here holding the hoop stand? You've been in a rigged game from the start, my friend. Alas, the world's your oyster, even if your family tried to shuck you. Update 1. Hello, guys. I know it's been a while. Let me start with the good part. So, I decided to start my own company. I've informed some of you regarding this in my comments and DMs, posting in details for everyone else. Also, most of you asked why my grandpa didn't intervene in my dad's decision to hand over everything to Mike. Well, guys, sadly my grandpa is bedridden. He's struggling with his health, and it's almost like he's counting his last few days on Earth in this situation. I really don't want to trouble him with any unpleasant news. Think of it this way. What could he do when my dad thinks I'm not capable of co-owning the company? Besides, he would be sad for me. I am closer to him than Mike. So I let it pass. Starting with the update. First of all, the support from this community really helped me get going. In my dull phase, I was looking forward to the comments and replies. I spent the next few days doing stuff that I actually liked. Playing tennis. I almost didn't play for the last 10 years because I was busy being a labor. I met my friends, went out for a date, and basically lived my life. Initially, I thought of joining a B school and then probably taking a job or starting something completely different from what I've been doing. Also, when the clients got to know that I had left the family business, a couple of them offered me a job at their company, but I declined their offer. I just don't want to work for anyone now, especially not for the clients. I didn't want any trouble with my so-called family, but eventually I was like, F it, I'm going to do what I already know and let them think whatever they want. I don't give an F and started my own venture. I won't bore you guys with the details, just in a nutshell. I did the research and designed the blueprint in such a way that it would fill in all the gaps that Mike's company was having. Basically, you get everything here which you get there, except you get better quality with ample choices. I onboarded my friend from college as the coworker. We have been friends for over a decade, so this partnership made sense. I put out the details on the LinkedIn page and my family got to know about this. They lost their mind. They didn't like that I was trying to compete with their company. Dad called me up and said it was a wrong move to compete with the family business. I told him I didn't know anything else but this, and my intention was not to compete with theirs. There are several other agencies which are coexisting with theirs. Let one be mine. He said he was disappointed. Wow. He gave away my inheritance to his golden child, and when I started something with my own sweat and blood, he was disappointed. Go to hell with it. I hung up saying I don't want to be in touch with any of them. Mike was absolutely shocked when he got to know about this. His initial reaction was disbelief at my courage, and then he laughed at me and called me a fool. He said my company won't last a fortnight, and if people like me start building a company, then business schools should shut down. He forgot that Grandpa built this company without a premium degree, but Mike shrugs it off and says it was the story of the past. P.S. I get this insider news from his people. Wink. After I posted about starting my company, word spread quickly amongst my contacts. Many clients I had worked with at my family business reached out to me. They're not satisfied with how the work is handled by Mike and Tom. It's not that Mike cannot run the company without me, but the thing is, he has got addicted to free credits. Now he actually has to slog his butt to get the train moving. Many of my previous clients, from Mike's company, have expressed interest for a collab with me. I've turned down a couple saying it would be unethical to poach his clients. However, the thing is, I'm suffering due to this. I mean, my existing network is the people who are tied up with my brother's company. I had two options, either poach them in or create a new set of networks who would be interested in partnering with me. There are several challenges with the second option. You know how difficult it is to get business for a newbie, right? I don't have enough capital to burn on acquisition. Well, I had to go with the first option and take the offer from his clients. They are in the process of terminating the contract with Mike's company. I'm wondering about his reaction when he gets to know that he lost them to me. We'll keep you posted. By the way, some of you asked me for the agency name. Sorry, I don't want to reveal my identity. What's the point of using a throwaway account when I give out my details? Hope I have covered everything you guys want to know. I'll wait for your comments, and I'll try to respond or update as soon as I can. Thank you so much. Imagine having to work for something rather than just reaping the rewards of someone else's efforts. Poor Mike. Not. Update 2. There's one shocker coming on the way, but let me go one by one. As you guys commented, I would be a fool to turn down the clients. Duh. I mean, that's how businesses are run. If Mike is not serious enough, it's not my problem. That's, in fact, my boon. So I grabbed all the opportunities that came my way. And after busting my butt for a year, now I feel moving out from my family business was the best decision. Trust me, it wasn't easy. I poured my heart and soul into this. It had been hectic. I slept for barely 5 to 6 hours for the initial 7 or 8 months, but now I have started reaping the fruit of grinding myself. Fast forward to now. My company is thriving, and I'm happier than I've been in years. But here's where it gets interesting. Mike reached out to me a few weeks ago. If not for him, I would have almost forgotten about this thread. After this new episode with Mike, I thought I owed an update to this community. I also came across an ugly truth that exposed the toxic level of my parents' favoritism. I got to know that my father didn't give away my share of the company to Mike, but he had stolen it from him. He tricked him into signing the papers which made him the sole owner of the company. Mike didn't intend to throw me out of the company right now. He wanted to exploit my potential as long as he could, and when the actual matter of property division would arrive, he decided to use that paper. However, Dad found out the truth that he was being tricked by Mike. Wonderful. And what did Dad do about it? He has the power of attorney. He could overturn his decision, but no. He instead chose to take his golden son's blame on himself. What Mike wanted to do 20 years later, Dad did it now. To keep Mike happy and safe from my rage, Dad told me he was the one who thinks I was incompetent and Mike should be the owner of the company. So Mike was not given my share, he stole it. Guess who spilled the beans? Mike himself. That's right. Mike was desperate when he came down to my house. His company was struggling. Clients were leaving, projects were failing, and the morale of the employees was at an all-time low. He came with a request to sign a pact that I won't take his clients. Now he has come knocking at my door asking me to sign an agreement to keep them safe. But when I started my company, he mocked me that it would not see the dawn. But look, here I am, thriving in my new business and my company touching new heights every day. He said, at what cost? He guilt-tripped me saying, do you realize if our business shuts, our family's reputation would be ruined? It's our grandfather's hard-earned business. Dang it, does family mean nothing to you? Dad would be traumatized. Is that what you want? I said, you got a fancy business degree. Use it to get clients and save your gosh darn business. Why do you need security from me? an underqualified person. He said it was not I who was speaking these words. It was my hollow ego coming out of shallow success. I said yes, the same success which threatened you and brought you to my doors. I may have gone over the top, but I was on fire and I couldn't stop myself. According to him, it was unethical that I was onboarding his clients and even his employees. After stealing my inheritance, he had the audacity to lecture me on ethics. I won't lie, part of me felt vindicated. I showed him the middle finger and yelled, "Get out!" Obviously, he was furious. He was not used to getting this kind of treatment. He called me unprofessional and even illiterate and rookie. I laughed and said, "You can call me whatever you want. I understand it hurts you to see me more successful than you." He slammed the door behind him and raced out. Over the last 2 years, I stole all his clients, at least most of them with whom I had worked there. Not my fault, buddy. They wanted me. Mike and Tom's superiority complex made the clients suffer, and they happily moved their business to me. While Mike and Tom were still struggling to find new clients, I stole their employees too. Sorry, I can't help it. Not my fault if Mike cannot retain the talent. I heard through the grapevine that some of the employees of his company are considering leaving. No one wants to ride a sinking ship. Many of them have reached out to me, asking if there are openings at mine. It's a bittersweet feeling because I care about these people, but I know I can't save everyone. I have a small office with limited projects, but I tried to accommodate as many as I can. Family equation, on the other hand, got complicated. I'm not in touch with anyone in the family except my mom, who occasionally calls me and shows up at my place. Initially, I cut her off as well, but eventually she reached out to me and came clean on her stand. She and Dad are not on talking terms after what he did to me. She's the only one who stood with me. She has cut off Mike and his family as well. There's nothing else I would expect from her. So now, we talk about everything but work. She mostly asks me about my relationship status and insists I marry and settle down, but I'm yet to find a suitable partner. I have a few things here and there, but nothing concrete to call a relationship. It might take a few more years to jump on that bandwagon. I've also taken steps to ensure that my new business remains a healthy and positive place to work. Learn it from Mike's mistakes. As for him, I have worked with him for a decade, and I know he has a pathetic work ethic. It's just a matter of time before my grandfather's hard-earned legacy would see the dawn. To those of you who've been in similar situations, your stories and advice have been invaluable. It's reassuring to know that I'm not alone and that others have faced and overcome similar challenges. For anyone else going through something like this, I'd say trust your instincts, prioritize your mental health, and don't be afraid to set boundaries, even with family. Thanks again, Reddit, for being such a supportive community. I'll keep you updated on any major developments, but for now, I'm focusing on growing my business and living a happier, healthier life. I can't believe he had the audacity to approach you for help after all of that. He mocked your new venture, calling you a fool, and now he's the one groveling. Your company is thriving, and Mike is tanking. You're taking his clients, his employees, and probably his sanity at this point. I've said it time and time again. Karma is certainly one heck of a woman. Have you ever gone into business with your family? How did it go? And thank you for joining us today in the rLounge. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. See you soon. And don't forget to put your chair back where you found it.